What up, friends? Welcome back to the new video. I was gonna say I'm your host, like some weird game show host. But anyways, so today we're gonna talk a little bit about Disneyland Paris. So I have not talked a lot about my trip to Paris. I did my vlogs, but you can always go back and watch all those vlogs. I did a little bit about the airfare that we used to get over, so Wow Air. I did a video about them. But I want to talk about the actual parks in Disneyland Paris and kind of tell you guys like what you should do if you're going to Disneyland Paris. Some of my quick tips about the park is number one, they have an app. It is just like the American parks, just the same type of app with wait times and everything like that. Fantastic, get the app. But to use the app, you have to have data or Wi-Fi because the parks don't have Wi-Fi. We used Hippo Wi-Fi. I'll try to put it on the screen. I can't remember. It's like Hippo Pocket Wi-Fi. Fantastic. It worked in the city of Paris as well as Disneyland Paris. It was delivered to our hotel. We were able to drop it off as soon as we got to the airport. Perfect service, 55 bucks for the whole week. So totally awesome. We had Wi-Fi everywhere. Another thing, most places took card. I think there was only one or two little stands that took only cash. So it is a good idea to go ahead and convert money before you go over there, or do it, you know, once you get in the airport. Costs a little bit more, but like the convenience is there, so whatever. But yes, you want to get some euros, definitely use them around there. I even had to use them a lot when we were in Paris itself. So euros are awesome things to keep on hand. Just a couple, because we ended up having way too much and having to just buy Kinder Eggs in the airport with them. All right, now I want to move on to like my favorite thing about every Disney location is food. So we had no idea what it was to go eat there. Like we didn't have great ideas, I guess. We lucked out, me and Danielle lucked out so much because Amelia and Emily ended up going to Paris about the same time. The thing about restaurants, they love American food. Like that's it. Everything there had burgers. It was different types of burgers. Even breakfast was called a burger, even though it was like an egg sandwich. It was a burger. But we did try a couple of restaurants. Now, a lot of what we did was snacking. We did a lot of candy floss, crepes. Cafe au lait was like our jam because there was like 1 or 2 days that it was pretty chilly. So we got tons of coffee with milk. Is all that is. Two of the main restaurants, and I'm trying to remember if we went anywhere else. We went to two main sit-down restaurants, one of them being the Plaza Gardens restaurant. This was like a great meal. It was a buffet. It was really, really good. Great food. We had a great time chilling there, and I'm pretty sure that was one of the places that we had refills or something like that. I remember us just sitting there and like chugging our drinks. So the other full service location that we went to was the Restaurant Agrippa Cafe, which this was definitely more exotic food. And by exotic, I mean it wasn't just burgers or even what was at the plaza, so like kind of like normalized food. There was things that were Mediterranean and stuff like that. It was really, really good. I did love this location. I think there was a lot that if you weren't adventurous, they didn't have like your basic like, here's some chicken nugs and this and stuff to make up for, you know, having a wider variety of food. So might be hard if you're a little bit more picky, but that one was really, really good and I do recommend that one. That was also a buffet. So that was pretty much it for the two like full services we did. Other than that, we ate at Disney's Blockbuster Cafe. We got some I got a croque monsieur, which was delicious there. We ate crepes, but it was a lot of burgers. All right, I want to get into hotel stays because we stayed at the Santa Fe Disney Santa Fe. It was one of the value resorts, one of the lowest ones. That resort was like kind of like staying like at a motel. It was not the greatest. Our plugs were falling out of the walls. The beds were not too comfortable. They were single beds. Everything was kind of rickety feeling. Very, very old school. The stairs were like outside and stuff. Listen, I sound like I'm really complaining. I'm just pointing out the things because we got to stay on site in Disneyland Paris for one, and two, that meant we got extra magic hours, which were like 2 hours long. So I looked at it on the website for like tomorrow, and when there's a 10 a.m. open, extra magic hours are 8:30 to 9:30. So you have like a 9:30 minute after that to do whatever. I'm not sure what they do in between there. But I remember ours being like 2 hours, so we had time to like spend an hour at the castle taking photos and then take another hour to go ride Space Mountain or whatever it was. So their extra magic hours are awesome. Definitely worth it to stay at the hotels, even if you stay at like the rinky-dink one like we did. But it was still fun. There also was a Starbucks inside, so we got Starbucks like right when we landed, and we were exhausted. Going into rides for Disneyland Paris. So they have a lot of the rides that we have in the US, whether it's Disneyland or Walt Disney World, what have you. Like Rock and Roller Coaster, they have that over there starring Aerosmith, just like ours. Theirs was extremely lame. I remember that. I remember we did not like it as much. We went on it once and we were like, we're good. If you have more than 2 days in the parks, then definitely do things like Rock and Roller Coaster. We did it, of course. Another one that another two I would say that you should do, because it's a Paris exclusive as of right now, but I didn't totally like love them. Like Crush's Coaster is one of them that, awesome. It's an exclusive there. It's one of the brand new things. We got really, really lucky where we hopped into a single rider line. And you know when you just get like blessed with timing into the single rider line? So we walk on in. No one's in line for single riders. So we get in on those vehicles like back to back to back super quickly. By the time we got off and we were thinking about going on again to see if we liked it, single rider line was out the door. So, but Crush's Coaster, if you ride it backwards, like I got to ride backwards, was awesome. We had someone that had to ride forwards. Not as cool. Still a fun coaster. Still worth it if you're in Disneyland Paris. But I'm just saying, it is not the most exciting. Another one on top of that one that is right now Disneyland Paris exclusive is the Ratatouille ride. Ratatouille ride, like all I can remember about it, honestly, is going into it, and I know a little bit of French, but going into it thinking, I'm not gonna understand any of this because it's gonna all be in French and I'm not gonna know what the ride's going on, but it'll be a great time. But really, there was no like storyline happening, I felt like. And maybe I just was like so zoned out or something, I don't know. I just remember being like, there's not much talking going on. This is interesting. Plus, if you've ever been on the the penguin ride in SeaWorld, it's kind of like the same ride mechanism as that. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to come to France and Epcot, but we all fell in love with Space Mountain over there. It currently had a layover for Star Wars. I think it still does right now, Hyperspace Mountain. But it was so good. And I know it's not like our Space Mountain, like it's rickety and little. It was like a legit coaster. Like you went upside down. It was kind of like riding Rock and Roller Coaster over there. But you did a launch outside and then you went into the building. It was so fun. Like we rode that one probably the most out of anything. I'm sure at least 3 times, maybe 4 or 5. Another one that we really liked that we have here is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. I should finish. Always Big Thunder is awesome, but their Big Thunder goes underwater and onto an island somewhere else. You're literally going underwater in there. So cool. So we loved Big Thunder. We did Indiana Jones. Forgot about that one. We did the first day of Indiana Jones, and if you've ever seen Indiana Jones over there, it is like literally riding in a little tiny golf cart that's gonna suddenly go upside down on a tiny little hoop. Like it felt like a fair ride. And we were definitely, I don't get nervous for rides much, but I was definitely a little nervous before going on that one. Indiana Jones was a lot. And then last but not least, shows and things in the park that were, although I think they were, most of the ones that we saw were all special to the 25th anniversary, but I don't know, I know they're still there now. I don't know if they'll be there when you go on your trip. Other things we saw, Mickey and the Magician made us all emotional. That was amazing. French shows, they basically do one character will speak in French and one will speak in English, and so you can get the whole story depending on what language you speak. Usually Mickey speaks French and then whoever it is speaking English. So Mickey and the Magician is kind of like watching Mickey and the Magical Map. I love Magical Map, so I fell in love with Mickey and the Magician. They also had a parade going when we were there. That was the Disney Stars on Parade for the 25th. This one, I fell in love because of the music. Like, you know when you say, like, I love Illuminations because the music is so great. That's how this parade was, because the parade was like, I mean, the parade was still awesome, I guess. The music was just so good. I can't get over it. Actually, I just realized I have not listened to it in a while, so that's what I'm doing after this video. But also, right now, for the 25th, and I'm assuming they will keep it, is Disney Illuminations on the castle. That is their fireworks show. A lot of people were comparing it to Happily Ever After, of course, because they kind of came out at the same time. I am still partial to Happily Ever After based on the movies they use. The Disney Illuminations uses Beauty and the Beast a lot, the live action one. And I'm not crazy about the live actions. They did like The Little Mermaid in French, which was so cool to hear. So like that's another thing. They'll do, you know, one of the scenes in French, one in English, French, so on. But they also have that lake there in the front, or the body of water. And so they do like a world of color type of thing where they have the water or the fountains dancing, they had the fireworks, they had the projections on the castle. It was a beautiful show. I think we saw it 2 or 3 times, so that was really awesome to see. So that's pretty much everything I'm going to talk about. There is 110 things I'm sure I missed, especially talking more about the resorts or anything like that, like, or even like things that confuse me about the parks, like the fact that you have to walk through Disneyland Hotel just to get to Disneyland Park, which is really cool, but I was not expecting that. So I'm sure there's tons more. Feel free to ask me any sort of questions. Also, something that I wanted to tack on is, this is something we did not do, but there is a Wild West dinner show in downtown Disney there. Legit, you go and then you get a cowboy hat when you go. So when you're in Disneyland Paris, you're gonna see people walking around like crazy in cowboy hats. And it's the funniest thing because we're like, wow, they must really like Western culture, or like us down in the South. And I don't know if that's the case or if they're just really hyped because they got a cowboy hat from going to see that show. But we're kind of sad that we didn't do that. Also, they have their version of Stacy, of course, of Disney must-dos on their TV. She's pretty quality, so you should definitely watch that if you're at a Disney resort. But anyways, that is it for me today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, because I'm sure there's 100 things that I could explain more and better, and just so much more. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys are following me on Instagram and Twitter to see what I'm up to, and I will see you guys in a new video. Bye!